Hey guys. Okay, so this is your reading lesson for Monday, April 6th. And so you should already have your assignment page pulled up, and you can see mine here. So the first thing you're going to need to do is click here to pull up the document that looks like this. Now you won't be able to type on it or change anything about it, but you will need to be able to look at this when you do your independent work today. And we're also going to write down some notes in our notebook from some important things that we learn on this page. So I've already got my notebook set up. Whoop. So today we're going to be talking about plays, and plays can also be called drama. Okay, so over this week and our next e-learning week, we're going to be talking about the differences between poetry, stories, and plays. So today we're going to focus on plays, and you can see at the top of our page, we're focusing on what makes a play a play. Like, what makes a piece of writing a play? How do we know it's a play? So I'm going to start up here at the top, just reading the first paragraph. It says, a play is a story that is acted out by performers on stage. The play is written to tell each actor what to say and do. Stage directions tell the cast of characters how they should say their lines or dialogue. The playwright gives information at the beginning of a scene that helps explain the setting. This helps you understand where the events are taking place. So I'm going to stop and kind of back up a little bit because that's a lot of information. So first important thing you need to know is that the whole purpose of a play is written in a way that makes it easy for actors to act it out. So because that's the whole purpose of a play, is to actually act out a story as opposed to just sitting and reading it. So the way that the play is formed, the whole setup of the way a play looks when you read it is made to make it easy for the people who are performing it to read. So the first thing that they talk about in this paragraph are the stage directions. And this is an important word that you're going to need to remember. This is one of our vocabulary words that if we were at school, I'd be quizzing you on it kind of every day. Do you remember what this means? So I would go ahead and write this in your notebook. So I'm going to write stage directions. Okay, so you can see stage directions. That's going to be our first vocab word. So stage directions tell the cast of characters how they should say their lines or their dialogue. So how to say lines. So it's literally directions for the actors on how to say their lines. Now, keep in mind, this is a video. I'm going to kind of go quickly so that this video isn't forever long, but you can always pause and rewind as many times as you need to if you need to copy down notes, or if I say something too fast and you want to go back and hear it. That's the glory of having these videos. So stage directions. So if you look on the example that we have on the page, stage directions are often either in parentheses, which are these little half circle marks right here and right here. And then sometimes they are also written in italics, which you can see how these words, where it says sounding tough and answering firmly, those words kind of look slanted. That's italics. And so it makes those words look different from the words that they're supposed to say out loud. So you can see sounding tough, answering firmly. Those aren't things that the actors are actually supposed to say out loud. They're giving tips to the actors on how their voice should sound, or what their attitude should be like, or what to do with their body while they're saying their lines. So they're not actually going to say sounding tough out loud. They're going to read this line, hey kid, let me see that ball. And when they read that, they're going to say it in a way that they sound tough. So it's giving actors tips on how to say their lines. Those are stage directions. And again, they often look different by being in the parentheses or being in the italic writing so that they stand out from the lines that the actors are supposed to say out loud. The next word up in this paragraph that I wanted to focus on is this word right here, dialogue. Okay. Dialogue is a fancy word for people talking to each other or saying things out loud. So I'm going to write that down on my notebook. Dialogue. And we're going to say spoken lines, because in a play, the dialogue are the sentences that the actors are supposed to actually say out loud. They're the lines that they would memorize as they're part of the play. So that's dialogue. Okay, so if you look at our example, we can tell where the dialogue is because they give the name of the character who's supposed to say that part, and then the dialogue is the part that they're actually supposed to say out loud. So you can see here, they tell us that the character Cal is supposed to talk, and the part he's supposed to say is, "Hey kid, let me see that ball." So this is Cal's section of dialogue, the "Hey kid, let me see that ball." And then Slim, which is another character, is supposed to say, "No, it's my ball. Besides, I'm practicing." So that's his part of the dialogue. Notice I didn't say the stage directions. Stage directions are not part of the dialogue because they're not supposed to be said out loud. The dialogue is the part that we say out loud. All right. Next part is the setting. And I actually am going to add a little part to this too. I just thought of this. So setting, you should already know what a setting is. So I'm not even going to make you write that in your notebook. So settings are the same no matter what kind of text it is, poetry, a story, or a play. The setting, of course, just tells where things are happening. So the setting of a play would give you information about what kind of scenery you would make. So for example, if you have a play that takes place in a castle, that would be the setting, is the castle. So then you would design props and things to use during the play that would make it look like you're in a castle. So the setting is very important because it would tell the people making the play what to make the scene look like and where they're going to be during that scene. So in this play, let's see, setting is right here. It says Slim has finished his lunch and is on the playground. So it tells you right at the beginning of the scene where they are. So that way, when you design the scene, you know what to do and where you are. The last thing I want to add that's not on here in the paragraph, it's on here, is the cast of characters. So if you see right here on our example, it says cast. So I want you to write down on your notebook, I want you to write cast of characters. So in a regular story, we usually just find out who the characters are as we're reading. Just as they pop up in the story, we figure out that they're supposed to be part of the story. But in a play, you kind of have to know who the characters are before you even start, because you have to be able to give parts out, you have to know how many actors you need, and then you have to be able to assign each actor their part. So you got to know who's in the play and what they're supposed to be. So if you look at our cast of characters here, they usually list it at the very beginning of the story, and they give you every single character that's supposed to be in the story before you even start reading the play, so that way you can decide who gets which part. So you see this play has a character named Cal, and he's going to be a class bully, so it gives you a little description of his character. Slim, which is a third grade student, Aaron, which is another third grade student, and Sarah, another third grade student. So if I wanted to act out this play, I would know I need 4 different characters, and I need each of those characters to be Cal, Slim, Aaron, and Sarah, and we would decide who would get to say which part. Okay, so for cast of characters, we're going to say who is in the play. And again, they usually give that to you right at the very beginning. Okay, and I want you to notice, now I know this is only one little piece of a play, but it gives you the title of the play right up here at the top, Trouble on the Playground, and then it gives you the name of the act or the scene. So those are sort of like chapters would be in a chapter book. They kind of break up the play based on what the setting is. So if the setting changes, then they change to a new act or a new scene. And then it gives you what's happening, where they are, and then starts into what people are going to say. So now I want you to scroll down And we're going to talk about some of these questions down here at the bottom. Now, you don't need to write down all these answers in your notebook, but I would, if you think, well, no. Yeah. So if you think you're going to forget something, or if you hear something that's important and you want to write it in your notebook, you can definitely do that. But I am going to leave these notes up, and what I type in, it's going to be there for you, so that way when you do your independent work, you can come back and look at this page and use it to help you find your answers. So you don't need to write down anything in your notebook for this part. It's kind of going to be here for you. So it says the cast at the beginning of the play tells. The cast, we wrote down in our notebook, cast of characters was who is in the play, right? So the cast of the character, or the cast at the beginning of the play tells who the characters will be in this play. Okay, the stage directions after the characters' names tell. So if you look up here, here's Cal, that's his name of the character. And then right after it, the stage directions tell what? It says sounding tough. So that's telling us what how the characters are supposed to say their lines. So the stage directions after the characters' names tell how the characters should say their lines. Okay. Then question 2 says the play is divided into acts and blank instead of chapters. So look up here. It's divided into acts and scenes. Okay. So instead of having characters, they divide everything up by acts and scenes. I'm going to change my color. So scenes. Okay. Acts and scenes. The introduction tells about the setting, right? So this is the introduction right here. And it told us they were at the playground. It tells blank and blank the play takes place. So it tells, change my color again so you guys can tell which parts I added, where and when the story takes place. So just like a regular setting in a story, it tells you where and when the play is going to take place. So setting really isn't very different between different types of text. Then number 4 says the dialogue is the lines that the characters, okay, so that part is going to be the dialogue is the lines that the characters say out loud. Say out loud. Okay. All right. So these are the important parts of a play, and these are the parts that you're going to be able, or that you're going to need to be able to talk about and describe today when you do your independent work. So now you can click back to your e-learning assignment and you just log into Edge Elastic. You find e-learning day 6, which should be assigned to you for today. And then if you need some help reading the play or reading the questions, Miss Tabor has been kind enough to give us a little read aloud that goes along with your independent work. So if you need some help reading your Edge Elastic assignment, you're going to scroll down to where it says Miss Nassera, Miss Williamson's groups, and you're going to click here. And then you can kind of click back and forth between her video of reading out loud and your assignment, and she will read each of the questions and the answers for you. You'll also notice that each of our reading assignments has this little optional part, and that is exactly what it says. It's optional. So you do not have to do this part, but I know some of my friends love to do a little extra. So this will tell you about a little optional assignment that you can do if you want. All right, so that's it for reading today.